Right. So the image likeness, therefore, as we see that God is delegating His powers, giving people then a responsibility to have dominion. I would say this is then clearly a first, at least a first. There might be other aspects involved. God can think, we can think, right? I mean, God knows everything. We know something in that sense, right? Maybe. But in the text that we have the idea of dominion. Okay. So that, according to me, is just in the text a simple or more straightforward meaning what this idea of made in God's image ultimately means. Okay. Yeah, sure, there can be, like I said, other aspects as well involved here, but this is in the text, the first, the foremost point that God made. So dominion, right? Then have dominion over the fish, over the sea, and over the birds. Here I want to speak about nature conservation a bit. Yeah, there's lots of things in this world where we as Christians gave over to the world, to the unbelieving world, our responsibilities. Okay? If you're a Christian, God is your Father. And He gave us tasks to do. Task for all humanity is to have dominion over birds and over livestock. Right? But these days, when you see people that's really into nature conservation, that's really fighting for nature, in most cases are not, they're going to be atheists. They're going to be people who don't really believe in God. They're just, for them, nature is more important than humans. Right? They would rather go and say, oh, we can't kill this, abort this little bear inside the mother's room because there's only like 10 of these bears left, kind of idea. But humans, yeah, sure, we can abort them, no problem there. Okay, so you have, so they're more into conserving nature than Christians. As Christians, we can say, no, we can just go on and like use nature. It's given to us, and we can just do whatever we want to with it. No, as Christians, we need to take back from the world the concept of nature conservation, the concept of caring for nature, and having dominion over nature. When you have children, right, you have dominion over them, you have responsibility over them. They are your responsibility. You need to take care of them. If you find a family where the father will go out or the mother will go out and just start beating his son or daughter in any way they want to, right? Because I have dominion, it's my child, I can do whatever I want to do with this child. We won't think very much of that person, right? That parent. We think it's a bad parent. That parent will be put in prison, right? Ought to be put in prison. So that is what we will do if another person treats his own child over whom he has dominion, right? So we won't do that. We will think it's bad. But when it gets to nature, we think, no, I can just do whatever I want to do with nature. I can destroy it. I can just mine here everything I want. I don't need to think about other animals that might die in the process. I don't need to think of any kind of extinction here. I don't need to think of anything like that because I have dominion over it. I can do whatever I want to with it. It's not right. You can't do whatever you have with your children. You're going to be put in prison. It's going to be wrong. So as Christians, we need to again understand that we have dominion over animals. That means responsibility. That means we need to take care of nature, not destroy it. So my plea here to Christians in the church today, stop letting the world conserve nature, giving their leading in it. We as a church need to start leading in nature conservation. We need to take back. My Father made nature. My Father made everything. He gave me the task to have dominion over it. So I need to use what God gave. I need to be responsible towards God for what He gave. And I need to start taking care of His nature because it belongs to my Father and not to the world, not to their gods out there or the non-gods. Right. So ultimately, yes, verse 27, man was created in God's image. In the image of God, created, male and female. Made in God's image. So we are not like other animals. Again, according to evolution, we're just an animal. We're just a more developed animal. Right? No, we are not an animal. Okay? Not because we walk on 2 feet, because you get some animals that actually can walk at least on 2 feet as well. Right? Bear can stand up, man. If the bear stands up, got no idea. Walking. So no, that's not what differentiates us from. We are made in God's image. We got the responsibility. We got the dominion. Okay, we are different. Yes, as we're going to study further after sinning, etc., we lost it. We became slaves to sin. But we are still made in God's image. We still have this that we need to have dominion over animals. We are the height of God's creation. Okay? And this is where creation, the last day, the last act of creation, is building up to. We're going to see in chapter 2 that there's a lot more happening on day 6. Right? So you need to wait for chapter 2 to get into all of that, to understand it, to see it, what is happening here. But as man made in God's image, as the fulfillment of the leading up to, of the cherry on the cake of God's creation. Okay, so we need to start looking at man as well in a different way. Okay, one of the saddest things for me, it's I don't know, it's very weird. I'm searching for words here now. Why? Because I just can't really understand it. I can't really get a grasp to how we as humans treat other humans. Okay, I don't even now in the sense I already spoke about nature conservation, how we have the dominion over nature. But I mean, how stupid can we as humans be? Right? We treat other humans like as if they are just animals, right? As if they're worthless. Okay, when you are outside and you drive here in the streets, I haven't mentioned yet where I live because there's like a civil war going on in this country, so it's not the safest place to always know. But some of you might, lots of you know where I am. Okay. But when you drive out here in the streets and you stop and there's like a 5-6-year-old selling stuff, okay, working out in the harsh sunlight, and it's hot here, trying to make a living just to get something to eat. People in the war at the moment, there's wars everywhere it feels. There's a civil war in this country. There's wars going on in Sudan. There's Syria. There's Gaza. There's Ukraine, and you can go on and on and on about wherever all these wars are going at the moment, where people don't have freedom. So the sad fact of the matter is, if we would have taken better care of each other, we would have done what God intended. If we would have understood that 6-year-old selling stuff that old person that ought to, be sitting and resting and other people taking care of, but who needs to sell, so it's just to get some rice to eat today. If we would just see what a waste it is. I mean, if we would have been able to rather let that child study, that child might have achieved or came up with a new kind of medicine that might have cured cancer or something, right? If that old person who is just out there selling something to survive today, if we would have sat that person down and started listening to that person, just to your experience, like your wisdom, things you've seen, things you've learned, what can I learn from you? But we are wasting it. We are wasting it. Some of us are so rich, we just want to have it all. We want to become more rich, and to be more rich, we need to push down on people like that. We need to ensure there are wars in other places. I can send my weapons there so I can make money out of it, so that my country can be rich, my country can be first. Okay? That's colonialism. We just, instead of starting and looking, right, at each human being that makes the image and likeness of God, and start taking care of them, start seeing who they are. Okay, this world will change, but we don't. We're just focused on ourselves. This is all about me, right? So dominion over the world as well, and made in the image of God. So dominion over the world, we need to take care of nature, right? We use it to enhance our lives, to enhance it itself, nature itself. And then made in the image and likeness of God, looking at other human beings and treating them with respect, with dignity, with love, trying to do everything so that here I include even those unborn babies in wombs who are murdered every day all over this planet, right? When we get to the old days of to other Old Testament books where people would sacrifice their children to different gods, and we look at abortion, that's just basically that, right? It's just sacrificing our children, unborn children, to different gods. If we would start looking differently at the unborn children, if we start looking differently at all human beings, and see again they're made in the image and likeness of God, this place will change, right? We're going to stop wars. We're going to start treating each other with respect. But no, we don't, because we don't see that man is. Even Christians are not.